Welcome back. So, apparently, day two of the Pro Tour was a hell of a thing. I wouldn't know personally because I didn't get to watch the majority of it. But I have read the results. I've read the day two breakdown of the conversion rate of the decks. And, Mardu vehicles converted 56% into day two, which is a pretty high number. And then I'm like, cool. That's, Mardu's a thing. Still a good deck. There's no major Mardu conspiracy. Then I get to the top eight, and where the fuck is Mardu? No Mardu in the top eight. That is bananas. I think if you asked any player, amateur, pro, kitchen table, fucking EDH, old school, new school, legacy, they would have been like, yeah, of course, Mardu Vehicles is going to be in the top eight, probably 2 or 3 copies, up to like 6 copies. It's just a good deck, right? Apparently, though I believe it's still a good deck, it's not as good as everybody assumed, which I think is great for standard. Um, in the top eight, we have 3 zombies variations, which I think that the zombie deck is pretty sweet. 1 green black energy, and then the rest all different Aetherworks Marvel decks, which is bananas. Who thought that, like, after this long of an absence, Aetherworks Marvel would be like the deck to beat, overtaking Mardu Vehicles? I guess it makes sense because if you could just keep up in the mid range game with the Vehicles decks and then just slam Ulamog and go way over the top of them, sure, you're going to win that game 8 times out of 10 at least. But no big surprise that the Pro Tour got shook up. That is absolutely true after the copycat ban fell at our Guardian Gone. This is how a Pro Tour should be. Another cool random factoid, Chris Fennell, top seed in the top 8. Local-ish Florida dude. Very awesome. Brandon DeCandio, Brandon Brennan DeCandio, sorry, who I mentioned in my last video, who got into day 2 with a 4-4 record, ran 7-1 today. So he's qualified for the next one. Congratulations. Again, local Tampa, Florida scene magic. Doing good, killing it. I didn't catch how Frank Lepore did. I'm going to assume okay, but yeah, 3 cheers for the local dudes. Finally, standard is a format. I don't think that Aetherworks decks are going to be the best deck in the long term, although they very well could be, but I think that card's fairly easy enough to hate out. I mean, the release of Gremlins and various other artifact hate, in addition to people either trying to go way under and go way faster, or just like getting out attrition by the zombie decks in the format. I think that Aetherworks will have a target on its head, and probably the zombie deck, which is cool. Like, it's a little bit different of a format, and the threats and the decks that you have to target now or have to worry about now are different. Decks that kind of didn't show up, control decks in no big way. I mean, there were a handful converted, none made the top 8. So unfortunately for me and my Grixis brew, not even like a single Grixis deck I think was played in the Pro Tour. So maybe I was way the fuck off. Although the blue-red variants of the deck, basically the same thing, probably cleaner mana, better answers, or more consistent. So that's a route that's still possible to go. And maybe the Gear Hulk decks could put out some of the Aetherworks decks. Regardless, pretty interesting Pro Tour to take in for the little bit that I have been able to. Tomorrow's the top 8. It looks pretty well stacked. It's going to be fun to watch go down. I'm kind of pulling for zombies, either in the hands of Fennell or Jerry Thompson or the other gentleman whose name escapes me who's on it. Let me check. Oh, Christian Calcano, another amazing player. Um, kind of want that deck to break out because it looks super sweet and I kind of want to play it. But either way, that is the rough breakdown. The Mardu conspiracy is that Mardu is no longer the best deck, at least for the moment. The cyclical nature of Standard, I'm sure Mardu will be back on top somewhere. Probably in the next GP, if I had to predict, get some number of Mardu decks in the top 8, along with probably the decks that are here in this top 8 for the Pro Tour, and maybe something new. Yeah, that's all I've got. Insane, crazy Pro Tour. I'm kind of happy about Standard now. I don't know how soon I'm going to jump on building one of these decks and playing. That's another story. But for now, it's great news for everybody. I think across the board, players should be happy, even if you fucking hate Aetherworks Marvel, which, without Emrakul, it's fine. It's a fine deck to have around. But that's all I got. I will be back tomorrow evening sometime after I get out of work with my final wrap-up opinion reflecting back on Pro Tour Amonkhet. Until then, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you would be so kind, and I would love to engage in some conversation with everybody. What are your thoughts on the Pro Tour? What do you think coming out of the Pro Tour Standard is going to look like? What are you looking forward to playing against or playing with? Either way, I will see you again very soon. Have a good night.